Decision tree models are one of the most intuitive ways to evaluate cost effectiveness in healthcare, and today I'm going to show you how to build one from scratch in R. We're going to compare two hypothetical treatment options for acute respiratory infection, calculate ICERs, and run comprehensive sensitivity analyses to generate a tornado diagram like the one you see on screen. By the end of this tutorial, you'll understand how to structure a decision tree model in R, parameterize it properly, generate cost-effectiveness results, and explore parameter uncertainty through one-way sensitivity analysis and through tornado diagrams. Before we jump into R, let's understand the decision problem we're trying to solve. Imagine you've been asked to evaluate the cost-effectiveness of two treatments for acute respiratory infection, treatment A and treatment B. Both treatments have the same goal, to cure patients, but they differ in their effectiveness, cost, and the side effects profile. Here's what we know. Treatment A costs £100 per patient, and it has a 90% chance of curing the patient, but it also carries a 20% risk of adverse drug reactions. Treatment B costs £80 per patient, and it has an 80% chance of curing the patient, and it has a higher adverse drug reaction risk at 30%. When adverse events reaction occur, they cost an additional £500 to manage. And if a patient isn't cured, there's an additional treatment cost of £150. As for the outcomes, cured patients gain 20 life years, while uncured patients only gain 10 life years. From these numbers, we can already tell that treatment A has the better clinical profile than treatment B, but is it also cost effective? Before I show you the solution, feel free to pause here and think about how you'd structure this problem. What's the ICER? Would you recommend treatment A? Before we do anything in R, let's visualize this decision problem as a decision tree to understand the structure. Now, you could visualize this as a decision tree directly in R using packages like diagram R or data.tree, but for complex models, it's often easier and more flexible to create your decision tree diagrams in PowerPoint, Canva, or dedicated diagramming tools like Lucidchart or Draw.io. That way, you have full control over the layout and styling. At the root, we have a decision node, represented by the blue square. Should we use treatment A or treatment B? From each treatment, we branch into two chance nodes, representing whether the patient experiences an adverse drug reaction or not. And from each of those branches, we have another chance node representing whether the patient is cured or not. This gives us four possible pathways for each treatment: no ADR and cured, no ADR and not cured, ADR and cured, and ADR and not cured. Each pathway has its own probability, calculated by multiplying the probabilities along the branches. For example, the probability of the first pathway for treatment A is 80% times 90%, which equals 72%. And each pathway has its own total cost and life year outcome, which we calculate by adding up the relevant costs along that path. The key principle of decision trees is that we can calculate expected values. That's the probability weighted average of all possible outcomes, which gives us a single number for expected costs and expected life years for each treatment. Then we can calculate the incremental cost effectiveness ratio to determine if treatment A is worth the extra cost. Now let's see how we build this in R. First things first, let's load the packages we need. We're using ggplot2 for our visualizations and gridxter for creating tables. If you don't have these packages installed, then just run install.packages for each one. Also make sure to set your working directory, which is one thing that I always forget. The first step in any health economic model is to define your parameters. I like to organize everything in a data frame because it makes it really easy to modify inputs later and keeps everything in one place. Here we've got three types of parameters. First, clinical probabilities for treatment A and treatment B. That's the probability of ADRs and the probability of being cured. Second, health outcomes. 20 life years if cured and 10 if not. And third, cost parameters. Treatment costs for A and B, ADR cost, and additional treatment cost for uncured patients. I've also included a willingness to pay threshold of £100 per life year, which we'll use later to make our cost effectiveness decision. One thing to note here, I'm keeping the cost for no ADR and cured at 0 because these represent our baseline states with no additional costs. This makes the calculations cleaner. Now, here's where things get interesting. We're going to wrap the entire decision tree into a function. Why? Because this lets us run the model with different parameter sets, which is essential for sensitivity analysis later on. The function takes a set of parameters as inputs and returns all our key outputs: costs, life years, and the ICER. Let me walk you through the 5 steps to explain what's happening inside. In step 1, we calculate pathway probabilities. For treatment A, we have 4 pathways, and we calculate the probability for each by multiplying the branch probabilities together. For example, pathway 1, no ADR and cured. We calculate this by multiplying the probability of no ADR, that's 1 minus 20%, by the probability of being cured, which is 90%. That gives us 72%. We store this as EP1 in the code, which is the expected probability for pathway 1. We do this for all 4 pathways of treatment A and then repeat the same logic for treatment B. In the second step, we calculate the total costs for each pathway. Pathway 1 costs are treatment A costs plus no ADR cost, which is 0, plus cured cost, also 0. So that's just £100. Pathway 4, on the other hand, includes treatment A costs, ADR costs, and not cured costs, which totals £750. Make sure here to label your parameters appropriately so you know what you're referring to. Here we use TC for our treatment pathway costs and C dot for our cost inputs. Now, in step 3, we can calculate expected values. This is the core of the decision tree analysis. We calculate expected costs and life years by taking the probability weighted sum across all pathways. So expected costs for treatment A equals pathway 1 probability times the pathway 1 costs, plus pathway 2 probability times pathway 2 costs, and so on for all other 4 pathways. The same logic applies to life years. In step 4, we're finally ready to calculate the ICER. For this, we must first calculate incremental costs. That's just expected total costs for treatment A minus expected total costs for treatment B. And then we can calculate the incremental life years. Again, expected life years for treatment A minus expected life years for treatment B. And we divide them to get our ICER. The ICER tells us for each additional life year gained with treatment A, how much extra does it cost? And that's our complete decision tree function, which we've called dec_tree. When we call it with our base case parameters, it returns a name vector of results. We can extract specific values by name, organize them into a data frame, and then use the gridextra package to create a formatted table with titles, custom fonts, and our cost effectiveness decision built right in. And there we have it, our base case results automatically generated and saved as a PNG file. When we look at our base case results, we can see the following. Treatment A has a total cost of £215 and generates 19 life years. Treatment B costs £260 in total and generates 18 life years. So treatment A is actually cheaper and more effective. It's what we call dominant in health economics. The ICER comes out to be negative £45 per life year, which means that treatment A saves £45 for every additional life year gained. That's a no-brainer decision. Treatment A is absolutely cost effective. But let's not stop at the base case. We should also explore uncertainty in our parameters. To do so, we can run a one-way sensitivity analysis on the probability of cure with treatment A, varying it from 0% to 100% in 10% increments. We create a data frame with 11 different values of this parameter, keeping everything else the same as our base case. Then we use the apply function to run our decision tree model for each scenario. The apply function is incredibly powerful. It applies our model function to each row of the input matrix. We transpose the results to get scenarios in rows and outputs in columns, which makes it easier to work with later. Now let's visualize these results. What we see here is really interesting. As the probability of cure with treatment A increases, the expected total costs actually decrease. Why? Because more patients are cured, fewer patients need additional treatment, which costs £150. So higher cure rates actually mean lower overall costs. In our plot, we can also see our break-even point, which is where the 2 lines cross. When the probability of cure for treatment A is 60%, the total costs are the same as for treatment B. This is the kind of insight that sensitivity analysis gives you. It helps you understand the drivers of your model. Now, one-way sensitivity analysis is great for exploring individual parameters, but what if you wanted to know which parameters matter the most? That's where tornado diagrams come in. A tornado diagram varies all your parameters across plausible ranges and shows you which ones have the biggest impact on your results. Here we're defining ranges for 8 different parameters, typically plus or minus 25% of the base case, though you'd ideally use confidence intervals from the literature. For each parameter, we create 3 scenarios: base case, low value, and high value. Then we run our model for all 3 scenarios and extract the ICER for the low value and the high value. And here's our tornado diagram. It's called a tornado diagram because the bars are ranked by impact, creating that striking tornado shape. The parameters at the top, like the probability of ADR for B or life years gained when cured, have the biggest impact on our ICER. The parameters at the bottom have minimal influence. Notice how the bars extend from the base case line in both directions. Some parameters, when increased, make the ICER more negative, so in other words, better for treatment A. Others make it less negative, and it could even flip into a positive number. The beauty of this visualization is that it immediately tells you where to focus your research efforts. If the probability of an adverse reaction for treatment B has the biggest impact, that's where you need better data. How sure are you that your ADR of 30% is accurate? Because if it's not, you've seen that it has the potential to shift your results by a lot. There's one more thing I like to point out with tornado diagrams. Remember that a low parameter value can result both in a reduction and in an increase of the ICER. The same is true for high parameter values. That's why we see blue and green bars both on the left and on the right side of our base case ICER of minus 45, which in our plot is represented by the black line. Decision trees are fantastic for simple, well-defined pathways like the one that we've modeled today. They're intuitive, easy to visualize, and straightforward to implement. But they also have limitations. The first one is that they get unwieldy very fast. Even decision problems that seem simple at first can become really complex because the number of branches grows exponentially with each additional decision point. The second one is that decision trees assume everything happens in a single time period. If you need to model patients moving between health states over time, then Markov models are a better option for you. But for short-term decisions with clear pathways, decision trees are really hard to beat here. And there you have it. Now you know how to build a complete decision tree model in R from start to finish. The full script is linked in the description below, along with a link to the original tutorial. If you found this video helpful, then give it a like, drop a comment if you've got any questions, and make sure you're subscribed for more HOR tutorials like this one. And if you want to learn how to build decision trees in Excel instead, then check out this video right here that you can see on screen. And I'll see you in the next one.